Dear Claudia, I'm not a writer nor a painter. I'm just an ordinary old man. Unfortunately, my wife passed away at the age of 84. I was 87. I don't smoke or drink. How could I overcome my grief? To tell you the truth, I didn't choose to create this world. In fact, I felt compelled to do so.
The man writing the letter is Rao Pingru. In November 2018, he turned 97. The work Pingru mentioned in the letter is Our Story, a book of paintings he produced in 2008 when he was 87. In his letter, Pingru relates the book's backstory to a Spanish publisher concerning the two most important women in his life.
我生命就对不起两个人，两个女性，第一位就是我的妈妈，第二位就是毛米堂，我生命就是愧疚了。是这样子。
Pingru never received professional training. He paints based on his childhood memories of studying Chinese art. From 2008, he created more than 300 paintings in 4 years. His paintings offer a glimpse into the turbulent life of a man from a well-to-do background, set against the historical backdrop of 20th century China. When Pingru's family published the paintings online in 2012, they attracted widespread attention. What drove this old man to create his first book? And why is his story attracting such interest outside China? Time takes us back to 1946. The War of Resistance against Japanese aggression in World War II had just ended. A young Kuomintang officer, Rao Pingru, returned home. Pingru's father, Rao Xiaojian, had a friend called Mao Sixiang. Mao had a daughter, and making a marriage was on Rao's mind.
我父亲讲，让我给你介绍了一个人，你去看一看。我说好啊，去看看。我那时候已经是25岁了吧，他22岁。一见他的面的时候，我们是在窗口上看见他，好像一见如故。哎，这就是我心目中所想要的这么一个人。
Her name was Mao Meitang. A typical well-educated young lady of early 1940s China, Meitang was among a new generation of women who were independent and outgoing.
在重庆，在我们那个地方是比较少的，很时尚，她很大方。那么我也放手了，我不接受。她在那里照镜子，就是这个房间里。 因为那前面有个窗子打开的，其他房子没有窗子，只有这个屋子有窗子的。
To Pingru's surprise, Meitang's father Mao Sixiang seemed to like him and wanted to find out more about him. He invited Pingru to dinner. Mao asked, "Do you smoke or drink?" Pingru said no. Good, good, Mao replied. In 1946, the two families' destinies became intertwined. Their home province, Jiangxi, became the scene of a great love story. Jiangxi was a relatively prosperous place with waterways leading in all directions. Historically, it had been one of the most developed regions in China. It was a place of culture where people were respectable and modest. The local food, spicy yet delicate, reflected the lifestyle. Naturally, food lent a lot of colour to Ping Ru's book. For Ping Ru, it seemed appreciation became real when it touched the heart. They were modern young people who still retained a traditional reserve. When they confessed their love, they blushed. Tongue-tied, Ping Ru remembered a foreign love song. "Oh, Rosemary, I love you. I'm always dreaming of you. No matter what I do, I can't forget you." Mei Tang sang gently in Chinese. "Now heaven and earth have witnessed our love. My heart is betrothed to you. May we remember each other forever, and may our love last forever." Ping Ru wished the peaceful life would never end. But in June 1946, the rivalry between the Kuomintang and the Communist Party erupted into all-out war, and Ping Ru was dragged into it.
7年之后了，我们都盼望是一个和平、幸福的一个国家啊，大概大家团圆。我也是节节归田，我们爸爸讲过的嘛，功成而节节。
But the situation turned for the worse. There was no escape for Ping Ru. In his heart, something had subtly changed.
一个人上到处上无所谓，在外面没有人牵挂你。现在就感觉到，你一个人永远在牵挂着你，牵挂。我有时也会牵挂着他。
Before Ping Ru met Mei Tang, he had not been afraid of anything, not even death. But after they got engaged, Ping Ru had to take the future seriously.
中间本来说是抗战时期，对生命那是一生许过。抗战胜利之后，那就也爱惜自个的生命吧。 生命是最美的。
But there was no quitting the army. In 1948, Ping Ru finally returned home, hoping to make a fresh start in life. But even on the eve of his wedding, something was troubling him.
我突然想起我的妈妈。我心想，哎呀，如果我的妈妈还在世的话，她看见我今天结婚，她该是多么快乐。她生病的时候，我没给她倒过一杯茶，我还没问过她句：“妈，你好一点没有啊？” 我没给他用过1分钱呢。我是一个很不孝的儿子，所以那一天我一看到要结婚了，我想到妈妈的事情，我就哭起来了，哭了2个小时。
He remembered his mother as a traditional, refined, and virtuous woman. She taught him to be the man he became. Rao Pingru was born in 1922. His mother, Yang Yuanjia, was a cultured lady. She inspired a love of art in the young Pingru. His wealthy family could ensure that Pingru was well grounded in literature and art.
我18岁以前，我外界的设计身份我不太敏感的。我所欢喜就是什么，写的字啊、画画啦，搞起这个。
Pingru was given a Confucian education. Chinese people believe that spiritual civilization is the core of the family and nation. The life skills and moral education he was taught would influence him for the rest of his life. According to Chinese tradition, women play a critical role in the life of the family and of the country. But in his ivory tower, the 15-year-old was unaware of events taking place in his country. "35 million Chinese people were killed in the fighting. The damage and suffering was incalculable. If all the lost souls and resources could have worked for the cause of peace, how much would mankind have benefited? But the bloody warfare ultimately served to reunite China. The Chinese people came to understand that the Great Wall could not protect them from modern invasion, nor could the people themselves, unless they were one.
我家里是个读书人家，我也不是家里也不是没有钱供给我读大学，我不是单纯可以读大学，我到外国去留洋，这个钱都还有的。但是我那个时候是因为抗日要救国了，我们国家已经是3/4的土地跟日本鬼子交战了，我们要亡国了，也就是亡国路了。我怎么还在读书呢？我是一个读书人，但是我投笔从戎，保卫我们自己的家乡吧，我们祖国吧。
1940 marked a turning point in the life of 18-year-old Pingru. Pingru set his pen aside and took up a rifle. Before his departure at Mid-Autumn Festival, his mother wrote him a poem. A bright moon hangs amid fleeting clouds. The country must be protected with sincerity, ambition, and determination. Our eldest son must not worry about us. Just send a letter to say he's safe. Pingru left home with his family's expectations weighing on his shoulders. He didn't know it at the time, but this would be a final farewell. The Japanese army employed biological warfare in China. Toxic agents were dropped on the Jiangxi region. Millions of people were infected, including Pingru's mother. With medicines and doctors in short supply, she couldn't be saved. This was the last photograph Pingru and his brother Shouru had taken with their mother. Pingru's mother died in 1942 at the age of 48. The loss of innocent lives deeply affected Ping Ru. I hope people can learn to love, so the world will be a better place to live in.
民无同胞，物无同语呀。凡是人都是我们的同胞啊。凡是物，动物也好，狗也好，马也好，羊也好，甚至包括树木也好，也是我们的伴侣呀。这个世界上要是没有这些东西，这个世界有什么美？
Time takes us back to 1948. They were the happiest days of his life. Ping Ru was 27 and Mei Tang 24. Sometimes they were like lovers in a movie. The spring breeze seemed so sweet. But life brings not only light, but shadow too.
恋爱个是很快很容易，婚姻这段时间呢，要是比较实际一点，是吧？但是呢，有时候是什么爱情是婚姻是爱情的坟墓这些呢，我不太同意。我说不是坟墓，应该是 just the beginning， 正要开始。
They sometimes quarrelled, of course.
我这个人怎么不讲道理啊？而且，蜜糖呢，一看到外面，就哭的样子。过了1-2个小时嘛，差不多气啊消的了，他还跟在那里，我就走过去，拉他，他一个人嘿嘿嘿，他笑一笑，假的，假哭，哭是假的，这哭是假的，根本就一笑了之嘛。
As the years passed, the couple learned to understand each other. Living in a run-down house, they revelled in sharing the simple life.
爱是2个灵魂的相聚、相碰撞。心里面就知道对方，对方也知道自己，可是灵魂的互相的信赖的理解，有了爱之后呢，好像是一个家就成了家了嘛。
And so they looked forward to starting a family.
中央人民政府今天成立了。
Time moves on to the 1950s. The Chinese people were embracing a new beginning and moving forward under the leadership of the Communist Party. Ping Ru and Mei Tang were among millions of couples determined to welcome new members into their family. Their babies would keep them busy, but happy. At the time, Ping Ru was working as an accountant and arts editor at a Shanghai hospital. Life was rewarding and filled with joy. But the happiness only lasted until 1958, when Ping Ru was 36. Just as it seemed his family might enjoy the peaceful life they'd yearned for, suddenly, fate dealt him another blow. The new government was seeking a unique path for advancement. China was developing economically, and social reform followed. The public-private partnership was over, and the anti-rightists came to the fore. The end of one movement marked the beginning of another. For Rao Ping-ru, the former Kuomintang officer, there was no escaping his past. In 1958, Ping-ru was sent to rural Anhui province for re-education through labour, without the chance to even say goodbye to his family. Rao Shizang, Ping-ru's 8-year-old son, had to live through his family being broken up.
我母亲就送上被子啊、衣服啊，送东西过去。回来以后呢，母亲当然是痛哭了。那个时候我们孩子还小，不知道嘛，就是围在旁边了，也跟着一起哭了。具体事情不，到后来才逐渐有点知道这个事情。
At the time, many people in Ping Ru's situation tried to make a clean break from their families so as to protect them. Ping Ru asked Mei Tang for a divorce. In response, however, he received a family photograph. On the back, it read,
Ping Ru, don't worry about us. Focus on your re-education and we'll be together again. We are still a happy family.
In her heart, Mei Tang believed in her marriage vows, that whether rich or poor, young or old, they should endure all their hardships together to the last.
这个信任非常信，我当时也很难过。这些信号也保证到来看到，当时他的心情真的很坚强。
Far away in Anhui province, Ping Ru was learning what it was like to plumb the depths of misery. Before long, famine struck. From 1959 to 1961, the hard work and food shortages caused many early deaths at Anhui's re-education camps. But Ping Ru survived. He started to understand that true happiness can stand the test of suffering. To Ping Ru's surprise, he discovered that one of his sons had been painting images of their family life. In his letter to the Spanish publisher, Ping Ru writes that he's glad to have a son with a talent for drawing.
The fact is, I'm growing old. Sometimes I find it hard to draw. Fortunately, my son is a gifted artist. He painted the scenes showing when our family was apart.
一边画呢，就是非常的有感想，有的时候也会落泪，画这些画也会落泪，就想到那个艰难的时光，我们也一步步走过来了。这个主要是我妈妈，父亲去了安徽以后，将近20年是母亲陪伴着我们。因为母亲在我们眼里一直是很美丽的样子，因为她一直很温柔嘛，母亲很温柔的，她也不会打骂我们，她打不来也骂不来的呢。 可是我父亲一旦进去以后，他突然就关心时事了，就一直在开始看报，从没有间断过。很怀念那个时光，虽然很困难、很穷，但是大家很快活。他说：“一个男孩子，永远不要惹是生非，但是呢，也不能怕死。真的有什么事来呢？兵来将挡，水来土掩。”
The mother shouldered the responsibility of keeping the family going. Sometimes she had to sell off her possessions. Mei Tang's struggles were too much for most people to comprehend. But one girl listened to all her difficulties.
有时候晚上看到我妈会流泪，不是我也不知道，我觉得我装睡的时间比较多，她有时会看着我会哭会说话，她就觉得好像有点过意不去吧。我们小时候比较苦吧，但是呢，毕竟小，眼睛是不睁，眼泪会出来。小时候很多是这样的，我很能理解我母亲的心情。她没有地方说嘛，她可能觉得跟我说，其实我眼睛不睁，但是我眼泪会出来，她会帮我擦。
These letters record what the couple went through during their 22 years apart.
平如 The children are expecting you to come back any day. They're always looking out for a letter from you. The days are so long. I don't want to write letters anymore.
A few days ago, I rushed to the post office to send you some money, only to find I lacked 1 cent for the postage. 2 years have passed. I wish I could come back to you right now.
Pingru, I had an irregular heartbeat the other day. It was beating so fast, I couldn't sleep. The doctor said my kidneys are inflamed. I miss you. I miss having you beside me.
Mei Tang, it's been 12 years. Your kidney problem is my fault.
Pingru, when can you return home? When will your problems be over? I'm expecting you back any day. It's not your fault. It can't change the past. 19 years have gone by and you're older now. Why can't you come back?
Mei Tang, the days of the Gang of Four are over. Time is passing. We must be patient and take the long view. (1978) was a pivotal year in Chinese history. People's lives were transformed as the country embarked on a new path. Wrongs were reversed. After 22 years away, in November 1979, Peng Ru finally returned home.
夫妻就像同命鸟，同甘共苦过，才能成为真正的夫妻。一见钟情，要终身眷恋，一辈子就是他了。我们中华民族的文化传统对婚姻的观点呢，就是白头到老4个字。
For Ping Ru, it wasn't only their love that had been tested, but also their capacity to tolerate suffering. Ping Ru later recalled, "We had no idea of the drama about to unfold. We've experienced upturns and downturns, but this is not the true value of life. It's being faithful to what you truly love."
人生需要的物质是何等的少，很一点点事情就足够生活了。但是人这个是不可替代的。凡是身体上所得到的美感，比较享受，真正幸福，痛苦当中也享受到了。我想倒退50年前，再过哪个身份，再重新再来一遍。那个时候很苦，但是我的人还在，心上的人还在，可以跟他共同的承担这个苦。现在很弱，没有人有什么意义了？没有什么多大意义了，是不是啊？
His love has departed, and now there's no one to scold him. Time takes us back to 1979. In their old age, their dream of a peaceful life together had finally come true. And they teased each other as if they were back in their youth.
New concept English came into China.
英文也叫做新概念，英文叫做 new concept。他有的讲的，你给书记买个 new con 去，我给他买。他一看见他有点找毛病了，你说不晓得买，叔叔要买的是买 new con， 你买个新概念。
But the peace and happiness only lasted for 2 years. Another hard struggle was looming over them. The years of starvation, malnutrition and toil had undermined Ping Ru's health, and in 1982 he was diagnosed with acute pancreatitis. Mei Tang nursed him and made fish soup for him while he recovered. Every day around 3 p.m, Mei Tang hurried to the hospital. Ping Ru would move to the balcony to look out for her return. He started to sense their days were numbered. Pingru had hoped they'd have longer together in their twilight years. But now the one who ate the soup is alive, and the one who made it is gone. Late in life, Meitang suffered from kidney failure and amnesia.
百世为平，明月为证。我心照相许，今后天涯愿长相依，爱心永不移。我绝望了，所以我嚎啕大哭。不得了，不得了，不得了，真的绝望了。家里一个人都没有。
But the couple still struggled on. Life was getting much harder. On March the 19th, 2008, Meitang passed away, but her lingering look would live on in Pingru's painting.
衣服里在那里抢救，我又挤不进去，我就在外面，我就这样看，他突然看见我了，流下一滴眼泪，我晓得他看见我了，他流下眼泪，因为眼泪都流干了，没有生命力了，我最后只有这么点眼泪。就滴到这个地方，眼睛红一红。发到这幅图时，我真的我自己都，我是流着眼泪把它发完的。人生当中，哎呀，我愧疚也很多了，这些。对自己的母亲也好，对妻子也好，因为怎么样呢？作为一个丈夫，不要说跟妻子荣华富贵，不谈这个，我们也给他一个平常的生活，那粗茶淡饭、平平安安生活都没有过。大半生是这么一个奋斗出来的。为平，明月为证，我心应照相许。今后天涯 爱心永不移。
In 2014, Ping Ru was 92. He returned to Jiangxi to look for the place where he and Mei Tang first met.
我到了南昌，又到福州去，想寻找他原来那个地方见面地方，但是那个房子已经拆掉了。我就想有个柚子树，原来是他后院，在后院，这个柚子树是两开叉的，现在大了，大得很粗了。
Mei Tang used to stand here. Ping Ru embraced the tree as if he were back with her 70 years ago.
看着这个柚子树，我就抱着一手，眼泪就流出来，就痛，我甚至于痛哭了。多么是人呐！看到柚子树还在，人不在了，地方是一个地方。
What time created 70 years ago has disappeared now. But time continues, and so does his love. Life may be as transient as a drop in the ocean. But art outlasts mortality and creates something eternal. That is how this book came into being. As he paints, Ping Ru examines his life. He's beginning to accept the inevitability of death and so understand the full course of life.
这一次夫妻这一辈子没有做好，来世我希望有一个来世，再好好就重新再做一遍，再过一次人生。
As he approaches the final curtain, he realizes how beautiful life is.
人生当中呢，这是一次，所以呢，对生活非常的热爱。这个包括很细小的事情，看到一朵小花，就是地上长出来，很美丽。6天功夫，它就危险了，就散掉。这个生命呢，我很基本，它能够这样子，年年生。 最美的是生命，最美的也是生活。
In his letter to the Spanish publisher, Ping Ru goes on.
I thought that the only way for me is to record something about our life. I had no alternative but to create this work. My mind would be at ease once when I had finished this book. It was my obligation. I would like to tell you something before I finish this letter. In my life, there are so many stories I want to share with you. The best form, I think, is painting. 人生苦短，青春难再。莫负初衷，相敬相爱。凡事包容，凡事期待，凡事相信，凡事忍耐。白头到老，幸福愉快。天长地久，真情永在。
我俩的故事是一种审美的回味，可以说不是传统意义上的自传。正好我觉得也表现了饶平如这个老人，属于老人的那种智慧或者是哲理。
平如美棠是一个真实的故事，我认为正是因为它的真实，才更加珍贵。我一直被平如美棠这本书的丰富性所打动，它讲述的故事中闪耀着人性的光芒。
Also, there was a very high empathy with the childhood of Mr. Rao, how he grew up, all the things he lived through, that shows us that despite the big differences between our cultures, we also have a lot in common.
Ce que j'ai trouvé intéressant dedans, c'est vraiment les petites anecdotes de vie quotidienne qui sont relatées, mais aussi à l'évolution de la vie des gens au fur et à mesure que l'histoire chinoise se déroule sous leurs yeux.